Hello there and welcome back to another gluten-free and yeast-free baking video. How are we doing today? Just to say that there is a lot of outside work going on outside my studio and both of the dogs are down here and asleep with me, so in case there's background noise you hear during the making of this video. But to continue with the video, today we are going to be making a gluten-free mixed spice loaf. I love this recipe as it reminds me of Christmas, and I know that this is technically the week before Halloween and I shouldn't be thinking about it until after Halloween, but I love Christmas. It surpasses every other holiday celebration that we have in the year, including my birthday sometimes, so you know, I'm really excited for it. So let's get on. You will be needing the following equipment: scales, measuring spoons, a teaspoon handle, a cake tester, a skewer or a toothpick, some baking paper, spray oil, a bread tin, I used a £2 one, a wooden spoon or an electric hand whisk, a cooling rack, a large mixing bowl and a spatula. You will also be needing the following ingredients: 140 grams of butter softened at room temperature, I like to use lactose-free butter, 140 grams of caster sugar, 2 medium-sized eggs beaten, 140 grams of gluten-free self-raising flour, and 1 teaspoon of ground mixed spice. Let's go! First things first, measure out all of your ingredients so that they're completely ready for you to use, and then preheat your oven to 180 degrees C on a conventional oven, 160 degrees C on a fan oven, or gas mark 4. Now to prepare our tins, we will need our bread tin, our baking paper, our spray oil, a pen and some scissors, or pencil. You can use either a pen or a pencil. So now that we've got everything, the first thing we're going to do is remove our sellotape, as I've decided to use to hold the baking paper down. Roll out our baking paper. Oh, not too far, mate. Then grab your bread tin, place it on to your baking paper as close to the edge as possible so we waste as little paper as possible. So I kind of work up here. There we go. Check the front. Yep, it's all good. Now, using your pen or your pencil, I personally have found a pencil better on this paper than a pen, but it's entirely up to you. Just draw around the bottom of your bread pan. There we go. Now remove our bread tin, cut along the outside of the whole strip because you know that's too small to use for anything else. For me personally, it's entirely up to you, as goes with the majority of this video. And now simply just cut round the shape that you've drawn on your baking paper. Now that that is done, grab your spray oil, give your baking pan, your bread tin a quick spritz of oil, coating all the sides. Place your baking paper in the side that you drew on facing down, as we don't want really that to go into our cake when we bake it. Getting it as flat as possible. And now I personally like, I thought the lid was on, I personally like to give the baking paper a bit of a quick spritz as well, just so that it's easier to get off of our cake. There we go. So now that this is done, we can begin actually making our cake. So grab your mixing bowl, your spatula, your electric hand whisk, your butter and your sugar. So the first thing to do in actually making our cake is to mix together the butter and the sugar. So we are going to place our softened butter into our mixing bowl. And now sprinkle on our caster sugar. Ooh. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Oh, there we go. A little bit harder than I thought. And now scrape in the sides of the bowl so that we get it all in there. I say this in every video and I will continue to say it. And now mix together until light and fluffy. So now that this is all done, grab your eggs. Now that we've got our eggs, we're just going to simply tip them in one big go. There we go, scraping down the sides as per usual to get it all in there. So now we're going to mix them together until they're well combined and smooth. This is really important. I say this in every video, as we don't want there to be lumps of butter, as this will create air holes in our cake, which I don't think is very great. And I think And I think mixing the mixture together as much as we do makes the cakes fluffier in the first place. So let's get on with it, shall we? So now that this is done, grab your ground mixed spice and your gluten-free self-raising flour. So now that we've got our mixed spice and our flour, we are going to simply add all of our mixed spice in one big go. Normally you'd scrape down the bowl as I usually do, but I like using these vases because I think they're super pretty. So now we are going to mix this in until it is well combined, and then still mixing, we are going to add a little bit of the flour at a time to our mixture until it is well combined. So now that this mix is done, we are just going to double check that all of our seasoning's in there. Wipe down our, scrape down, that's the word, scrape down our flour bowl, just to make sure it all gets in there. And now we're going to scrape down the sides of our mixing bowl. And now we're going to mix one final time for good luck. So now that this is finished, grab your bread tin. Now all that is left to do is to place our mixture into our bread tin. So let's do it. Now we're just going to spread this out so that it reaches all the corners. Try and flatten it out a bit, although don't worry, as it flattens itself out really in the oven. Now that our cake is ready to go into the oven, we are going to place it into our preheated oven for 40 to 45 minutes until we insert a teaspoon handle, a cake tester, a skewer or a toothpick, and it comes out completely clean. Then we are going to take our loaf out of the oven, leaving it in our tray to cool on a cooling rack for 10 minutes. And then we are going to tip out our cake onto our cooling rack until it is finally cool. And that is it. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out all the links in the description, as I love them all and wouldn't put them there if I didn't, including the recipe for this lovely cake and my shop where you'll be able to buy all of the flour and equipment you would need for this recipe. If you do make this at home, don't forget to tag me on Instagram and use the hashtag bakingwithvickiie, which I will put above me as there's room up there. Let me know in the comments of anything else you'd like to see me make, gluten or yeast free, as I do both. And finally, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you next time. Bye! Mm-mm.